Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It is just gone 9:09. News and views on Salam Media. And let's just try and fix that sound. I heard a bit of feedback, but I think that the controller has sorted that one out. Coming up in the next hour of the show, let's welcome to the program our listeners in Polokwane. Assalamu alaikum. Hope that you're going to stay with us till 10. And of course, you are joining us via One Nation FM. Just to let you know what else is coming up on the show. Two very dynamic ladies. The one is Aisha Marco, TV and content producer, presenter, voiceover artist, and entrepreneur. She's our woman in media today. The other dynamic, awesome woman is Shamshad Sayed from the South African National Women's Forum. She has been in the field of media for many, many, many years, has done amazing work. And not only has she been active and still is active in the media space, she is active in very many different fields within the community and has made a significant change. She is a change agent and she has touched lives directly and with her different organizations in a huge way. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward her for all of her efforts. May she continue growing from strength to strength. And when I say that, it brings a smile to my face because I begin to wonder, what more is this woman going to try and achieve and, put her mind to and try and make a difference in that particular sphere of life for people in our community. It truly gives me pleasure to welcome to the program. I'm not going to say just another woman. I'm going to introduce her as my dear sister, Shamshad Sayed from the South African National Women's Forum. Assalamu alaikum to you. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sister Julie Ali. Always a pleasure to be with you. Also, a very seasoned personality in the media. Always a pleasure to talk to. Wonderful dialogues, always. We have to say all the same and more for you, Sister Julie. Really, really impressed with all that you do. And we wonder, what is Sister Julie going to be doing next, inshallah? So, yes,
Ameen.
alhamdulillah,
Summa
great
ameen.
job.
I haven't applied my mind to that just as yet, but I guess it'll come to us at some point or the other. Once again, Shamshad, you are involved in an amazing initiative, and rightly so. Very especially, and I'm going to digress here a bit, very especially in light of the fact that we've got Islamophobia rising all around the Western world. The most craziest of antics by these Islamophobes, for example, burning of the Qur'ans. And in a discussion a little while ago with Rafiq Hassan at IFRI and some other such personalities, I kind of posed the question. I said, what are these people thinking? They're absolutely crazy because they burn one Qur'an, we get hot under the collar, we react, and the situation sometimes gets blown out of proportion or out of context. What he said to me is that Alhamdulillah, and this is where, and you'll understand where I'm going to with this conversation. He said, Alhamdulillah, we have Hufaz practicing from an early age, every minute of every day, all around the world. We have Muslim parents encouraging their children in the memorization of the Holy Quran. So the Western world can do what they like. They can burn 1,000,000 Qurans, but they'll never erase the memory of the Quran al-Kareem from our DNA, from our psyche, from our memories. And the Quran will live on forever, also knowing that it has been predicted that by the year 2050, Islam will be the #1 religion in the world. And I now hand over to you to respond to that statement and also tell us, and then you'll understand obviously why I brought this in as the introduction to talking to you about the National Quran Memorization Competition. Welcome to the program, Shamshad Sayed.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sister Julie. You've touched on such a phenomenal point. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. When we speak of the Quran, we're not just speaking about the book. We are talking about the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we read the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to us. When we read Salah, we are speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You cannot take Allah's speech away from a person. Once Allah has spoken, it goes, as you said, into the deep recesses of the heart. They can, it's not just the West, Sister Julie, it's the East, the North, the South that seems to have a problem with the rising numbers of Islam, as you rightly said, by the year 2050. But 20 years ago, I said in 20 years' time, it will be the hijab-clad woman that's going to be calling the shots in what should or shouldn't be done for women of the world. And we're seeing the time has now arrived. But with reference to the Quran Kareem, being the word of Allah, remember where the Quran is coming from. It is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has been preserved on Luhul Mahfuz and the preserved tablet and kept at Baytul Izzat. And when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was sent to the earth as a mercy unto mankind, it was revealed to him over 23 years as the need arose. But from where the Luhul Mahfuz? And when people feel that they're abusing the Quran, they think they're abusing Muslims, but what they actually, in fact, what they are doing, they're crossing swords with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and nobody, collectively, individually, globally, locally, nationally, universally can come together to destroy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they're fighting a losing battle, and it really doesn't unnerve me because I know it hurts very much, but there's always a response. And the proactive part of that would be for us to love the Quran, to read it, appreciate it, implement it, interpret it, understand it, live it. Most important thing. Rasulullah was a living example of the Quran. We need to become that. And the Quran memorization competition, as well as our Qiraat Jalsas that we have in the South African National Muslim Forum, always coming from the same source, which is Qari Bashir Patel, that this is the respect, the honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as believers have given us, and we then impart it to the rest of the community. The Quran is an honorable companion. One thing we tend to forget in the West and East and the North who don't believe in the hereafter forget that the Quran will become personified the way we treat it, the way we treated it. That will be the type of companion that we will have in the qabr, in the hereafter. Because once we pass away, that Quran becomes your companion between the sheets and says, do you know who I am? And you say, I don't know. He says, I'm that Quran that you read, depending on how you read it. So I urge my response to this, read more of the Quran, practice more of the Quran, live the Quran more, memorize the Quran. Just yesterday, I shared a video of women, as 76-year-old woman who became a Hafiza in the Gaza Strip. And the South Darul Quran or Sunnah hosted this memorization competition there as well. And she's completed the Quran at the age of 76. So nothing stops you. Not linguistics, not ethnicity, not race, not color, not creed, not location. Being under siege, being under a huge prison, a mass prison, they continue to take the Quran very dearly. We don't need those conditions to turn to the Quran. We have the opportunity every day. The Quran is with us in our shelves, in our homes, on our phones. There is no reason not to read it, to memorize it, to understand it. We all aspire, inshallah, to memorize the Quran. The Quran memorization has not started from today. It's over 1,445 years. So alhamdulillah, it's something that they cannot destroy. The Islamophobes try to destroy the brotherhood of Islam built through the Quran. You can't. And that is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He will preserve. He will preserve the Quran. When the time comes, when there is so much of disrespect for the Quran, then Allah will take the Quran and return it back to the Allahul Mahfuz. That's why I started speaking about the Allahul Mahfuz, where the Quran was revealed and kept at Baytul Izzat. That time will come. But while we have the Quran with us in our kitabs, in our phone, on our phones, in our hearts, it's time to practice upon it. Let them do what they want. It's not the first time that the Quran was desecrated. 21 years ago, when we first heard about what they're doing about the Quran in Afghanistan, for example, or in Bagram base, in all this, terrible prisons that they were trying to take revenge on Muslims for whatever reason. Muslims had nothing to do with anything. But in any case, the Quran has been desecrated. But what had happened? You see that it's 20 years later after what they did in Afghanistan. We find that more and more and more people have turned to the Quran. So Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us. We have nothing to fear, but we need to respect, we need to honor, we need to live by the Quran Kareem. So I'm not, I pity those people. I make dua for the hidayat, that it hurts us, when they burn the Quran, because we, not a nation that can sit by idly when you disregard Allah, disregard Rasulullah, disregard our holy book. But at the end of the day, it's not the first time, and how we respond is very important. Let's double, quadruple our efforts with regard to respecting, honoring, and living the Quran. So,
Subhanallah.
Alhamdulillah, it is a stepping stone. And now you find that not only a certain age group, in the past it was the youth that was learning the Quran, and by a certain age you're done. No, we are finding there is a trend, a beautiful trend, an irreversible trend of loving the Quran. One of our very inspiring role models is Dr. Alima Hafiz Siddiqui, who lived and loved the Quran. She didn't only know the Quran, she knew the Bible, she knew the Torah, because in order to defend the Quran, she needed to know all the other books. So this is the time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us so many opportunities to get close to the Quran. It comes to our door, we should compete with regard to doing the service of the Quran. Now is the time, and I urge every woman, man, child, youth, pensioner, it's never too late to make the Quran, be a memorization for you, or to memorize it, to become Hafiz of Quran, or at least to read it. What we've done is, myself, I speak for, I try, alhamdulillah, each year to improve on it. So by now, alhamdulillah, every lunar one, we finish a Quranic Kareem, So alhamdulillah, so in a year, you finish 12 Qurans. Come to Ramadan, you finish about 3 more. So try to finish at least 15 Qurans in a year. Who knows, with that recitation, continuous recitation, the memorization becomes easier. That's what we aspire to. So yes, it's an opportunity to look deep within ourselves and ask ourselves, how much of respect do we accord to the Quran Kareem, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself has spoken of, and it is his word, he speaks to us. All those that reverted to Islam, many of them reverted by just reading not the entire Quran, just a verse. If you listen to Yusuf Islam's reversion, he just read first few lines of Surah Yusuf, and that's why he took the name Yusuf Islam from Cat Stevens. If you look at Shanique Connor as well, and she read the Quran, she says, but I've been a Muslim all my life. The Quran has been my friend, I just didn't know it. So this begs another question, have we done enough to introduce the beauty of the Quran to all and sundry? So we've got a huge task ahead of us. No time to complain, no time to mourn, time to work and work and work, and make the Quran the core of our lives, the mainstay of our lives, the first and the end of our life, the beginning of the day, the end of the day. Now is the time, while we have life, while we have breath in our bodies, while we have energy, while we have age or we don't, we use whatever we have to further the love and the interest, recitation, correct recitation of the Quran Kareem. And that is why even like SANQC, it is there to perfect the recitation of the Quran and hopefully the correct memorization as well. And urging every woman, you are the first lap of education for your child. You're the first university of your child. Once you perfect the Quran, you perfect in your home. This has a ripple effect in the community. You perfect in your community as well. The Quran is supposed to be our best friend. Our first act of duty in Islam is supposed to be dawah, and dawah starts at home. Dawah starts with your children, your community, your extended families, your workers, everybody, basically your work environment, etc. Give it as a gift to somebody and say, just take this as a gift. You read the Quran yourself. You never know which verse can change a generation towards Islam. I'm also reminded about a Japanese embryologist who, he studied embryology all his life. And he came and he knows exactly how the baby is formed. And when he read Iqra, You are stunned. He says, this book is the word of something some being very supreme, because the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, at that time 1445 years ago, could have never known
Okay,
is
we've
formed.
just lost the connection there with Shamshad Sayed. Oh, there she's back again.
I
Let's
don't know
blame
what's
it on
happened.
Eskom as always. All right, let's do this. Shamshad, let's go for an ad break. We'll come back and we'll have at least another 10 minutes with you or so. I'm not even
Fantastic.
going to look at the prescribed questions because you and I don't need that. We'll just talk off the cuff, inshallah. Please stand by.
Inshallah. Jazakallah.
This is Salam Media.
For a long time, we've lived in a centralized world where institutions held the all-important data and confirmed all transactions. Those times are over. Welcome to Libertas Group, a blockchain developing company boasting an ecosystem that continually redefines the way we do business. Our blockchain is decentralized, making it immune to hacking or alteration, putting the power back in your hands with no middleman so you can focus on the growth of your business. Libertas, the simplest investment choice you'll make.
When you give water, you're reaching out to drought-affected areas, bringing them to life. Fresh water to drink, to clean, and to grow. That's the power of water. Donate now to Islamic Relief.
It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journal.
I think, as you know, I'm new to politics. I was an international businessman. I was the head of a couple of international investment groups, specifically focused on investment infrastructure on the continent of Africa. Since the day that I decided to step up my big boy pants on and take them on for what they are doing wrong, because the only way to do it is to do it without fear, without favor, and believe that our gods, Allah, and South Africans today find themselves waking up just physically now in the dark, but facing newspaper article after media art of cartels, ministers being part of gangs, a judge announcing in a court that the echelon of our policing service have indeed been infiltrated by gangs, a president that sits there in limbo, president with no active leadership mandate, in my opinion, anymore.
Neil de Beer.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Al Bayt Lodge, your true home away from home. Al Bayt is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists, with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities. Conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities, your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Al Bayt has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albaytlodge.co.za.
Help us ease the hunger burdens of those in need by donating to the SANZAF Meals Project. For just 12 Rand, you can provide a freshly prepared meal to an individual, and with your commitment to a monthly contribution, we can reach out to even more communities and deserving individuals. Call us on 011 834 6046 to learn more about this life-changing initiative. SANZAF, changing lives through development and relief.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. My esteemed guest this morning talking about the Holy Quran and the upcoming South African National Quran Council competition, rather the 14th National Quran Memorization Competition, is Shamshad Sayed from that council. She's also the South African National Women's Forum and a whole host more. We are talking of the beauty of the Quran al-Kareem. Shamshad, welcome back. Nice to be chatting with you this morning about the most amazing book, and that, of course, is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Holy Quran. Back to you. And like I said, I'm not even going to go to the prescribed questions for the Quran competition. I'll just hand over to you and you can give us all of those details. But you were still talking about the beauty of the Holy Quran. And just to go back to what you also raised earlier on, is the clip you shared on your different media groups regarding the mid-70s woman in Palestine who had made Quran al-Khatam. The beauty of that was seeing all her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren surrounding her in absolute adoration. And obviously, the fact that she had achieved memorization of the Holy Quran at her ripe old age of mid-70s, for me, that was something awesome. I just think it is doable for each and every one of us as Muslims. And as you keep saying, let us live the Quran.
Absolutely. Just one more point about the woman there. You know, they say that how proud are parents when their children become Hafiz al-Qur'ans. Imagine how proud the children and grandchildren were when they saw their mother and their granny become a Hafiza. One more point about the Quran, you know, Sister Juliana, I think this is often overlooked. You know, of all the articles of faith, we read Imani Mufassal Amantu Billah Malaikati wa Kutubi wa Rasuli wal Yawmil Akhiri wal Qadr Khayri wa Sharrihi min Allah Ta'ala wal Ba'asi Ba'ad al Maut. We read, I believe in Allah with his books, his kitabs, his angels, his, you know, everything there is unseen except the Quran. You look at Amantu Billah, we haven't seen Allah. Amantu bil Malaika, we haven't seen them like the angels. Kutubi, we haven't seen any other book besides the Quran. It's the miracle of its in its original form. Rasuli, we haven't seen any of the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wal Yawmil Akhir, we haven't seen. Wal Qadri Khayri wal Taqdeer, we don't know good or bad. And the rising after death, we haven't seen. And all these articles of faith which we believe in is unseen. We haven't seen any of it except the Quran. How do we value that seen article of faith that we have? This is something to really ponder about. We say we believe in Allah, we believe in many qualities, you know, and these are the articles of faith. How serious are we about it? And, you know, to recite the Quran, you know, the motto for this year is rise, recite and rise. There's a reason for, there's a hadith with regard to it. It's in Tirmizi and Abu Dawud as well. It is to rise spiritually, rise to the challenges. By reciting the Quran, just alif, if you take alif lam mim is not reward for each, but 10 for alif, 10 for lam, 10 for mim. And that is, you know, 100 times more rewardable in the month of Ramadan, known as the month of Quran. So these are the prerequisites to understanding the importance of Quranic Kareem. So with regard to the Quran memorization competition, which I feel is important, alhamdulillah, a phenomenal way to egg our children on to memorize the Quran. You know, once they start, it's not difficult. It requires sacrifice from parents. First of all, you know, parents complain, children do that and the other. What effort are we putting into making them friends of the Quran, memorize the Quran, understand the Quran? But the starting point is to recite it properly. So you have SANQC that has been doing this for the last 14 years. And when you sit in one of those sessions, the serenity that prevails, Sister Julie, you just need to be there to understand what I'm saying. There's absolute silence. There's no phones allowed. There's no pictures taken. What you see and what you hear is pure the Quran. You immersed in it. And the children are being judged. Obviously, they have to be judged on recitation, on fluency, on memorization. These are the criteria. But at the end of the day, what does he do? It is an incentive and it is an encouragement. It is an invitation. It is a beautiful way of bringing people together, the community together, the Muslims together. We often complain that we don't meet as an ummah. Here's an opportunity besides meeting in the masjids 5 times a day, which Islam is a religion of congregation. It is a religion. It's a communal religion. We do things together in every way. I mean, we all read the Kalima Shahada. We read Salah together. Most of us take out a zakah in Ramadan. We fast together in the month of Ramadan. We go for Hajj together. So all these things of faith, articles of faith that we do is a togetherness. But the pinnacle of it is obviously the seen article of faith, which is the Quran Kareem. The memorization of it has to be taken seriously because it is a word of Allah. You know, the wrong, incorrect pronunciation can change the meaning of what you are reading. So these things are extremely important. And we cannot thank SANQC enough for having started this initiative. And we are very proud to be part of it, to be assisting them wherever we can, talking about it and inviting the community at large to be part of it, inshallah. So to thank Kari Bashir and the entire team. I just want to read something so I don't get it wrong, so that Salam Media viewers know and listeners know. The South African National Quran Council is an organization dedicated to promoting the study, memorization, and recitation of the Quran in South Africa. Our mission is to encourage and support individuals in their Quranic journey and to foster a deeper understanding and appreciation of the Quran within the community. The objective of promoting the Quran competition is to create a platform for individuals to showcase their recitation skills, promote unity in the community, strengthen our relationship with the Quran, and most importantly, increase the quality of the recitation of the Quran and its value in the country. So, Sister Julie, point we're making is, as I said earlier, this is to bring the communities together. As we know, this Saturday, it's going to be in Lenasia, the 2nd September. It's going to be in Lenasia, at the Lenasia Muslim School, starting at 8 a.m. rather. And we hope it's zone 1. So we hope that you will all make your way there. Even if your children are not participating or you're not participating, there are different age categories and groups. It's on the poster as well, and the website is www.sanqc.co.za. Any further information that you require with regard to registration, attendance, etc., all the criteria that is required is on the website, so you can follow all those instructions and follow all the guidelines. And if you want to be part of it, I'm not sure if registrations are closed, but you can try. At the end of the day, it's your participation, being part of the audience and being part of the SANQC, and assist the SANQC wherever you can. I will send you some banking details that anybody wants to assist in giving whatever they want towards the, not zakat, but any lillah or any gift they want towards the Quran. And gifting people or reciting the Quran, I feel, is a beautiful gesture. So alhamdulillah, to encourage our children, we give them gifts on their birthdays, which I don't know, we shouldn't, but at the end of the day, this is the time. This is the time that we should be really spending in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to assist the cause. You know, we complain the Quran is being burnt. I just want to just digress for a second. Do you know where the Quran was burnt? I think, was it in Sweden?
Sweden.
Yes. Do you know what the Muslim community did then? They bought the entire property where the Quran was burnt, and they now intend to build a masjid. So that's the kind of responses that we should be having. In response, in your face, we're buying the very property you burned the Quran, and we will be reading the Quran 5 times a day. We will be memorizing the Quran on that property, and there's going to be generations until the end of time. All our progeny, there's going to be respecting the Quran for the ones that you burnt the Quran. So here's a response for you. So this
Alhamdulillah. Okay, I have to interrupt there. I do apologize. We need to wrap up now. So your final words on the Quran competition, and are you going all around the country with this Quran memorization competition? And will it go international as well, inshallah?
Yes, inshallah, the finals, the final winner will be participating in Saudi Arabia. So the one that you see on the screen, there's one that's happening in Lenasia. There's one happening in Middelburg. There's that's in Mpumalanga. One happening in Durban. One happening in Ladysmith. One happening in Polokwane. So quite a few. I will send you all the dates so you can, in your adverts or in between your programs, you can read that out. I know Polokwane is going to be on the 23rd. Durban's going to be on the 17th, Ladysmith the 16th. And so we've already had a beautiful one last weekend, which was on the 26th of August. It was in Potchefstroom. We'd like to say The team there, Sister Hajra from our side, from South African National Muslim Women's Forum side, they had a beautiful, beautiful, absolutely stunning Quran memorization session. So we want to wish Lanesha on Saturday all the best, and any support that you can offer or render, please do so. Please do attend, and remember us all in your du'as, and make dua for the SANQC that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to take the work. It's 14 years going strong. Let's go, let it go for another 140 years, even long after we are gone. So Allah reward Kari Bashir and Steve, Kari Ayub Esak, etc. All of them on the team to continue this great work, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from all of us, inshallah.
Ameen, Ameen, Thumma Ameen. Go well. Keep us in your du'as. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all your efforts as well. Till the next time, as always, stay beautiful, and Assalamu alaikum to you.
Mr. Julie, Jazakallah for having us. Allah reward you. Assalamu alaikum wa
Ameen.
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ameen. It is exactly 9:39. News and views on Salam Media. Our final interview for the morning is with Aisha Mako, a young creative with a passion to change lives through media. She is our media personality as the month winds down, Women's Month. She is the women's personality or women in media that we're featuring on the show today, inshallah. Stay with us.